I'm James Swinney, and here is your morning market brief. As always, we first begin overseas with the major Asian Pacific markets, and following yesterday's massive sell-off in the United States, the Asian markets did follow suit, this with Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index plummeting more than 5.25%. Meanwhile, Japan's Nikkei 225 index down roughly 2.9%. However, European markets this morning continue to trade mixed, and U.S. stock futures are pointing towards a slightly positive open. At the same time, all talks return back to Greece, and after 4 days of preliminary talks, Greek officials have officially named former European Central Bank Vice President Lucas Papademos as its new Prime Minister of the 15-week interim government. Papademos' government will be tasked with securing the bailout. Meanwhile, in Italy, the Senate will vote tomorrow on austerity measures, including asset sales, as well as an increase in the retirement age. Meanwhile, Italian 10-year bonds eased below 7% today, this after rising more than 7.4% yesterday. At the same time, the European Commission cut its 2012 Euro region growth forecast by more than half this morning and warned of growing risk of prolonged recession. The European Union now expects GDP to grow at 1.5% this year, this down from previous estimates of 1.6% and just 0.5% in 2012, this from previous projections of 1.8%. And in Asia, Chinese exports figures grew at a slower pace in October of 15.9% year over year, this from 17.1% the previous reading, and the decline in exports was attributed to the European debt crisis as well as U.S. unemployment figures. Meanwhile, in China, we did still see imports rise 28.7% from 1 year ago, and Chinese trade surplus figures narrowed to $17 million for the month. At the same time, just released in the United States was a flurry of important economic reports, that of which included the import price falling 0.6% in October, the trade gap in the United States narrowing 4% to a reading of $43.1 billion. This following exports during the month of September hitting their highest ever on record, and in initial jobless claims figures, they fell by 10,000 to a 7-month low of 390,000. Meanwhile, in corporate news, Cisco Systems Incorporated announced earnings of a net income of $1.8 billion or 33 cents per share on revenue of $11.3 billion. Earnings were down 7%, but they did beat expectations. At the same time, German company Siemens AG posted a fourth quarter net profit of 1.23 billion euros.